all or nothing bullshit with you guys. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of effort. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of people's energy. It's unjust. All right. So we had abortions on the ballot, and I wanted to play this for you or show this to you guys. I found this really, really interesting. Abortion was on the ballot in a few different states. And, the Democrats went really hard on abortion in their campaigning and their ads and the way they articulated themselves in this whole process. And I thought that was stupid. I thought that was a mistake. I thought they should have been talking about the economy. Here's what our plan is. Here's what we've done. Here's where we're going. Here's, the long-term effects of all that stuff. But that's not what happened. And then we see this, and for the pro-lifers out there, right? Like the anti-abortion folks. I know some of you guys follow me. I know there's going to be comments on this video, and I'm not really trying to debate you. I'm not. It's a waste of my time. I don't care. What I think is, and what I feel is, and this is all you got. You need to, when we talk about abortion, everybody needs to be comfortable with this one thing. Your decision is based on your beliefs, and that's it. Not facts, not reality, not consciousness, not life. It's based on your beliefs. Okay? Everybody needs to be honest about that. We can have a conversation about when a heart starts beating, when consciousness exists. Like these are really important. I don't think about a heartbeat as life. I think about consciousness as life. That's the way I see it. I think it more of, if you want to talk about consciousness or a soul, those are kind of interchangeable, just like God and the universe are interchangeable, unless you're get upset about that. In that case, in your life, it's not interchangeable, but for everybody else, it is. It's based on your beliefs. And the belief that life starts at conception is insanely unpopular. The belief that life starts with a fetal heartbeat or whatever is wildly unpopular. And the way that pro-lifers or anti-abortion folks articulate themselves is if they talk about this baby as if, those little like dinosaurs you drop into water and they get bigger? Like it's a little bitty dinosaur and you drop it in water and it absorbs and gets bigger. That's what how they talk about pregnancy, as if that's how it goes, right? As if like, okay, you bust a nut up in there, your sperm swims, egg, and then all of a sudden, boop, it's a baby, but it's like this big. It's a microscopic, fully formed baby who's just tiny, right? And then it grows, but it's fully formed this whole time. That's how they articulate it, which is the dumbest shit I've ever seen, right? And when we think about life and consciousness, I'm like, well, the way that I see it and the way that most people see it is like, there's a difference between stopping something from happening, right? Stopping a life from existing and killing someone, right? Those are two separate things. If I distract you, right, as you're walking to your car and it takes you 5 or 6 seconds, right? Maybe I wave at you or something like that. And then because you left 5 seconds later, you end up getting T-boned by a semi-truck that you wouldn't have gotten T-boned by, right? If I wouldn't have distracted you for that 5 seconds, I didn't kill you, right? Shit just kind of happened the way it happened. So stopping something from happening is different than if I was to run you over with my car. Those are different things, right? Think about that. I know it's a lot. Think about it, right? Stopping something, and this is where I think most people fall in the United States. Stopping something from happening isn't the same as killing a baby. That being said, another majority position that I hold, that many people hold, that another majority position, right, is that at some point in that pregnancy, it turns from stopping something from happening to killing a baby, right? Like there's a certain point where that happens. So let's find out what that point is, right? Being generous to the pro-life folks, because they have a sway, they have an opinion here too that matters. You matter, guys. And let's find that line and work within those bounds, right? So my position is every state should be required to give up to 10 weeks. A minimum of 10 weeks of elective abortion service, and no state can go further than 15 weeks with elective abortion service. And also, pregnancy tests are fucking free. They're free. They're free everywhere, right? If you're pro-life, that should be good for you, right? People won't know they're pregnant. They can get services earlier. They can come find you, and you can talk them into having a baby earlier if you want to do that, right? If you're a pro-choice advocate, you're like, yeah, well, that makes sure that people have access within time, right? Pregnancy tests are just in women's bathrooms. They're just free. There's everywhere. They're cheap. How much do they cost? 25 cents? They're free. Okay, cool. They're everywhere. Easy. We're done. We're done with this conversation. But that's not ever going to happen because the people that are on this photo right here believe that life begins when you think about having a child. And the other people think that you should be able to take a newborn baby and bash it over the head with a baseball bat. So we're dealing with the extremes on either end, making decisions for everybody. But when you do get a ballot initiative on abortion, here's what happens. Abortions in, by the way, I pulled this from the Catholic News Agency. The abortions in 2022 midterms. How did the states vote? I thought you guys could get a kick out of this. This is from Katie Yoder. Ballot initiatives to protect and expand abortion passed across the nation on Election Day. Americans in 5 states voted on the issue of abortion during the 2022 midterm elections. 3 states, California, Michigan, and Vermont, proposed constitutional amendments to advance abortion. All 3 passed. At the same time, citizens in Kentucky weighed a pro-life amendment, and Montana voters considered a measure that promises to protect babies who are born alive after attempted abortions. Kentucky voted no to its pro-life measurement. Montana results are still coming in with a current majority voting no. Stephen Billy, who serves as vice president of State of Affairs at the national pro-life group SBA Pro-Life America, early Wednesday morning stressed that life is still winning. So you guys just heard what I read, right? Like a landslide. Not one of these things went pro-lifers' way. And Stephen Billy, which is a strange 2 first name situation, believes that pro-life is still winning, that's still the majority position. And when you hear pro-lifers talk about this, it's this craziest thing because they always say that. They can lose 99% to 1% and still be like, well, we have a winning issue here. They're delusional. They're out of their goddamn minds. It's insane. And this is a quote from old Stephen Billy. Says, anyone arguing abortion is winning is missing what happened tonight. Anyone arguing abortion is winning is missing what happened tonight, he told CNA. We had strong pro-life candidates at the federal and state level win because they seized on life as a winning issue and exposed the extreme taxpayer-funded abortion until birth policy of their opponents. That is a straw man and also completely false. Pro-life candidates won in spite of their views on abortion, but based on what we saw last night, that is so far from reality. Goes on to say, we know life is a winning issue. We know how to win on life, and we know the American people reject the extreme policy of Planned Parenthood and their candidates. Americans reject your policy as well, Steve. Come on, dude. He added, going forward, we have to do better at using our winning strategy and using it to fight back against the millions of dollars big abortion puts into ballots initiatives and causes confusion and hide their extreme policy. It can't be about the fact that people just don't agree with you. It has to be about Planned Parenthood manipulating people. How is that different from Democrats being like, well, people are voting outside of their own self-interest and don't really know what's best for them? It's the same thing, and it's cunty on both sides. It doesn't make any sense. When the voters see the abortion industry pushing abortion on demand, they reject it. And if we focus on exposing that extreme policy, we will win. Well, I think people here, the abortion argument is very much like climate change. And it's very poorly articulated. The anti-abortion argument. It's so poorly articulated because they don't pick a fight, right? Think about climate change. It's so broad. It's so obtuse, right? It's hard to see. It's hard to feel because it's so big. You miss the trees for the forest, right? It's backwards. Where if you want to actually make change, you focus on specific things that are popular, right? Cleaning up plastic pollution, plastic regulation. Those would be hugely popular. When you talk about climate change, it becomes obscure, convoluted. You got to stay specific, right? Talk about vehicle emissions and air quality. People are very for air and quality water and decreased pollution. These are things that people are for, right? When you're talking about turning every square foot of free open land into a solar farm, people are like, well, hang on. You got to have these conversations in stride. And the abortion folks don't do a good job of that at all. They look at this and they think, abortion's on demand. Well, you should be able to get an abortion on demand for a certain amount of time. right? That's kind of, you don't want to push off an abortion. You want an abortion when you decide to get it, right? The most inhumane thing to do if you're going to get an abortion is procrastinate. You know what I mean? That's one part of your life where you're like, hey, I'm making this decision. Maybe it takes you a few days or a week to make that decision. But once you make that decision, you go do the thing. You don't push that off, right? Like, oh, give it a month and feel it out. No, that's f***ed up. You make the decision and you go. So instead of having a nuanced conversation around, okay, we need to get rid of third trimester elective abortions. Those need to be illegal. And you bring out, here's a number of third trimester elective abortions, which is very, very small and also very uncomfortable for people to know that aren't about health of the mother, developmental issues in the baby, none of these things, right? They're just basically, somebody's like, I decided I didn't want it and I'm at 6 months. That's insane. Absolutely insane. 99% of the population is against that. Okay. If you get to that point, adoption is your only option, baby. That's it. Instead of working to outlaw that and then move to whatever the next thing is and the next thing until they run out of things and we have some kind of rational situation here, they've just been like, abortion on demand is bad. Life starts at conception. Praise be to Jesus. And you're like, oh, you've done nothing. You've done nothing. You've raised a bunch of money for candidates, for political candidates, and you've done nothing. And so people reject it because their messaging is terrible. It's gross. It's stupid. It makes no sense. But here we are. So across the board, on the ballot, all across the country, abortion wins. MAGA loses, abortion wins. That's two of the big stories from the night. Now, I've said enough about that. If you're pro-life out there, guys, I know there's a lot of pro-lifers out there that listen to the show. Think about that. Pick your battles, guys. I mean, there's some things that we can get on board with you guys. As pro-choice folks, right? I'm speaking for those of us who are in that category that I spoke of. We can get with you on some things, but you got to pick your battles. We can find some overlap, but you've got to be interested in doing that. We're not here to do the whole like all or nothing bullshit with you guys. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of effort. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of people's energy. And it's unjust. And that's how we feel. And that's unlikely to change. So if you want to get on board with us and like try to find some things that we can work with together on, great. I can be in support of that. But you got to put your ego aside and put your religion down, put your Bibles down, and have a grown-up conversation. But that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen for the life begins at the thought of conception to you should be able to just drown your 2-year-old if you don't want it. Like those are the people that get to make the opinions, I guess. I don't know. It's a weird time, but for the pro, I'm making an appeal to peace with the pro-life folks. Let's have some rational discussions if you want to have those discussions so we can get on the same page. If you want. Doesn't seem like you want to, but we're down. I want to share with you what it takes to create this kind of content. I have to sift through piles and piles of bullshit from political ideologues that are completely ridiculous and try and find the truth. I've got to go from the left to the right to the center, all over the place. It's exhausting. I'm losing my fucking mind. But one thing you can do to help me out and help my mental health is subscribe to this channel. Turn on post notifications, like this video, leave a comment, just something, please. I'm losing my shit and you're the only one that can help me. Subscribe to the channel.